Hey, what's up, plant people? Welcome to my side yard. Happy Monday to you. I hope you had a great weekend. Today I'm going to be working on a little project. I built this last summer and it did pretty well, but the problem is I got a few things. Some of the plants I lost due to the extreme heat when I planted, just a few, but most of them are doing pretty good. So we're going to replenish any lost plants. But I've also want to update this system a little bit. When I built this, I kind of rushed it a little bit. And what I want to show you is an issue that when I usually build these, and I use this technique when I build my vertical succulent gardens as well, is that when I'm creating a pot, and I'll show you right here. So I'm building these containers. You can see the bottom right here. It's just fabric, just landscape fabric. It's stapled on it, and it does a great job of letting moisture drain through and air kind of flow through, and doesn't just sit there and hold everything and contain it. So it does great, but as you can, I don't know if you can see it that well, it looks like my belly after Thanksgiving. It's kind of protruding, so to speak. I'm sure a lot of you can relate. And so just like it's nice to suck that belly in a little bit, you look a little nicer, right? Or whatever, feel a little better at the very least. And so what we're going to do with this is I'm going to reinforce this. I'm going to take all these down. Like I said, I'm going to replenish them with fresh soil, fresh fertilizer, some fresh plants if needed. But what I'm ultimately came in here to do is actually I'm going to add some hardware cloth to the bottom of this and staple it on. And so that'll hopefully give me some more strength and support to hold the soil in place. So that way it doesn't just continue to sag and then put pressure on all the staples and then eventually rip, or I don't want it looking like that. And so I actually have 3 layers here. They're hooked up, there's supports holding them up, and they have chains that kind of hold them to the fence. And so there's a few things I want to do. I also want to come back later after this project, and we're actually going to add irrigation to this. This is in a spot where, like I said, it gets really, like the hottest part of the day, that's when it gets sun. Right now it's shady, but in a few hours it's going to get direct sun, and it's winter time right now, not a big deal. But July, June, July, August, September, even into early October, this area gets really, really hot afternoon sun. And so we want to make sure that it gets adequate irrigation. So maybe we'll come back on another video to add that. But for today, let's just get after it, put that hardware cloth underneath there to support it. And then, like I said, and we'll replenish it, and we'll show you some pictures and video so that way you can see the transformation and how it's going to look when we're done. And so sit back, relax, and enjoy. Don't go anywhere. Hang with us. Welcome to Field Tripping, and I'm really glad you're here. All right, so now the fun part, the work begins. I had to gather all my materials to make this project happen. To do this, I got my handy dandy staple gun. It's a plug-in electronic, little DeWalt, does perfect. I've got some stainless steel staples loaded up, ready to go. I've got my hardware cloth. Now, I know it doesn't look like cloth, like you'd be wearing like a shirt or whatever. It's metal. And so we use this a lot in our gardens. You can actually put it underneath. You have like gophers and moles and problems with creatures getting underneath your beds. Sometimes you'll see gardeners use this, or you can use it around plants and trees to protect them. There's a ton of uses. Well, we make crawdad traps with it in my class for fun, for catching crawfish near the school. And so there's a ton of uses for it. Actually, comment below. Maybe you've got a use for it I haven't listed, and you can school me up. I'd love to hear about it. And so there's a lot of different varieties you can get. And so this variety works pretty good for us. I think it's like a 1/4 inch gap, you can see there. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure it out. Actually, that's another thing you could use. You could use a measuring tape, or you could actually just fit it to your box and then just staple it in place and cut it as needed. And I think that's what we're going to do here, just to speed things up. These are our boxes that I mentioned. Look at that big old belly down there. So we're going to try to add those, add a bottom to that, and then also we're also going to do some planting. So I've got some plants here for replenishment. I've also got a bit of soil to mix in, and the soil that I'm mixing in actually has a bit more water holding capacity. When I first planted these, I gave my typical soil that I usually give my succulents, so it drains really good. But just the spot where they are at, and because they're in small containers, and because I'm trying to overload the amount of plants in these small containers, I think I need some soil that's going to hold a bit more moisture. And so we're going to do just that. I've also got some starter fertilizer here. I think it's like a 462. I'm not 100%. It's EB Stone's organic Sure Starter. Sure Starter fertilizer. It's got mycorrhizal fungi in it. It's really mellow and mild, and will feed your plants as they kind of get going and help really feed the root system. The mycorrhizal fungi will attach itself and kind of live symbiotically with your roots, basically kind of like superpowering Avenger style, right? All the teammates are going together, helping each other. Basically, the fungi helps the root system suck up nutrition and moisture even more effectively, to my understanding. And actually comment below if you have some more additional information on that. We'd love to hear about it, talk about it. And so those are all the things that we need, except for to cut this, we're going to need some kind of cutter. Sometimes you could use your diagonal cutters, something sharp that's designed for cutting metal, thin metal. I would not recommend it, although my students love it when I demonstrate this with an old pair of straight snips. A lot of the gardeners out there using straight snips. They're super sharp. I remember I've seen them cut some for being such small cutters, they'll cut amazing things. And so they'll cut these no problem. The problem with that is once you start using it to cut on this, it's not going to be super great for cutting on your plants. So unless you're willing to let that straight snip kind of go and be kind of damaged a bit, you could cut it with that, but I would not recommend it. Like I said, the diagonal cutters work great. Even a strong pair of wire cutters work good. But you know what? For today, I got a fun trick for you guys. Why use those when we can use power tools? That's why you gotta protect your eyes at all times and always be safe. But come on, it's like we're gonna grind it, baby. We're gonna grind it with the grinder. That'll make my job super fast. We'll get this job done. Let's get to it. So I'm gonna do it right now. Let's go. Right here, I've already got this one started. What I did is I lined them up, got them where I needed it, kind of make sure I flattened it out, put a couple in the corner. Always, point this thing away from you. If you look right there in the guide, it'll show you right where that staple is gonna come out. Push down firmly, bow, and then get it right over there. What I'm gonna do is finish putting it into place, and then I'm actually gonna cut off the parts that I don't need. Now, normally, if I was doing a bunch of these, or I would just measure it and just pre-cut these, and have a bunch ready to go. But since I'm doing this kind of after, I'm just gonna make sure I put it into place, and then grind these off, make sure it fits on there proper, and then it's holding on firm, and then life's good. So I got it kind of tacked into place, as it were. And so what I'm gonna do is make sure I've got my eye, you can't see it right now, but my eye protection's on. Give you guys a fun angle. They're so thin, it just goes right through it. So what I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. Boom. And that's what we're after. It doesn't gotta be pretty. You can see it right there, and what it is, it's not gonna sag right there. At least, hopefully not. But this is actually fairly strong. You can put your hand in there, you can test it, put a little pressure on it, you're good to go. So I'm gonna do that 2 more times, and then get these planted up. That wraps up today's video. I got that little hump, that belly fixed on these plants. I got some fresh plants in there, some starter fertilizer, some fresh soil. It's looking good. The sun is about to come in and hit these plants and give them some fresh sunshine here in about a half an hour to an hour or so. So life's looking good. I hope you saw the images. Hope you got inspired to go home and get some gardening going on where you live. And from my garden to yours, happy gardening, best wishes, and I'll see you next time.